So, you've received your kit. Now what? I know it could be quite intimidating when it first arrives, knowing where to get started. Therefore, I wanted to put together a video, this one particularly around the samplers, around how to get going. So firstly, get everything out of the box. Down to the frame, the bottom, which you'll see is in a box of its own with its own separate instruction guide. The first things first is to mount your fabric onto your embroidery hoop. Whilst you could stitch not on the hoop, you'll find it makes it far easier and far more comfortable to do. So once you've separated your hoop, you'll find it easiest to do this over a flat surface. Loosen the top of the hoop slightly. Place the back of the hoop. Loosen the top of the hoop slightly. Place the inside part of the hoop on a flat surface. The fabric over the top, and then place the top hoop over the top of it. You'll then push the two together. If you find it's a bit tight, just loosen the top of the hoop again. Do remember, whenever you stop working with your sampler or your Fable, to remove the hoop. You don't want to leave the hoop on for long periods of time, as it could cause the fabric to get misshapen. Whilst most misshaping can be fixed in the mounting process, it's best to try avoid it. Once you have this pulled tight, then tighten the hoop at the top. And you're ready to get going. So with the samplers, you'll find that these come with a 6-part plan. On all the designs, I've identified a section of it, which I've drawn onto the Ada in a heat-sensitive pen. This means you can get going immediately and don't have to worry too much about where to start. First things first, find one of the colours from the top section of the design marked. So for example here, I'm starting with this dark blue, number 23. Cut a length of the thread and thread your needle, remembering to split the thread into two. If you're unclear on this, go find our separate video which is specifically around splitting the thread and threading the needle. Here I'm working with short sections just for the purpose of the video, however you'd typically use more like an arm's length of thread. So firstly I'll refer to the plan and find where is this dark blue going, and then look at the area that has been drawn on, and we can see it's this downward section of the bunting. Make your first stitch and securing it through the loop at the back. Then you'll begin your cross stitch down. The key thing with cross stitch is just to maintain your top stitch always in the same direction, either from left to right or right to left. If you find that you've done a couple accidentally the wrong way, then you can always just put another stitch over the top of it. And of course you'll never notice if there's just one or two which aren't correct. Here you can see more closely how the cross stitch is being made. You see I'm going from the bottom right to the top left, and then from the top right to the bottom left. And I'll keep my stitches going the same way throughout this. So first things first, you'll want to just fill the area that has been marked with the colour. As you can see has been done here. I've now fully stitched the first piece of the bunting. And so where next? Now you'll need to use counted cross stitch. For counted cross stitch, all you'll do is look at how many stitches across, up or down does the plan say I should do. So for example here, I'm continuing with the dark red. I can see that at the end of the red and white striped pole, there are 2 stitches down and then there are 5 stitches across. So I'll start by doing that. The first bit you're doing it, you may find that you're doing an awful lot of cross-referencing back to the plan. But as you get into the hang of it, you'll quickly remember things like that pillar is just a series of 2 stitches up. And at times you're bound to go wrong or accidentally count 1 too many stitches across. Before immediately unpicking, I'd always look and see whether you can find a way of making the design work even with that. So now I'm going to pick my next colour. So here I'm going to choose 13, the lighter blue. So I get that out of my thread box and I'm going to do the second flag of the bunting. Based on the plan, I can see that the flag goes the full way down alongside the pillar. So I secure my thread in place and then I start stitching down. So I see first there are 4 stitches down alongside the pillar. Once I've done those 4 stitches, I then look across and see there's another 4 stitches, just 1 cross to the right. So I'll do those 4. The more items you have, so the further you get along, you'll find you can continue to cross-reference as you go. So I find it easiest to really start with the border first. Particularly the alphabet around the outside you'll find very easy to count. And then as soon as you have the full border, it's much easier to do the centre because you can do things like line up the top of the balloons with the top of the letter C, or something like that. And it's a much easier way of checking whether things are in the right sort of position. But do remember, no one will ever know what the plan was, and therefore if you find that something's slightly out of place, only you'll know that, and I wouldn't worry too much about unpicking things